About a year ago, I met Joni, a 22-year-old guy in a university class. I remember it perfectly because I had never had such an interesting conversation with someone so quickly. From the first day, I noticed how respectful and kind he was. His sense of humor was amazing. He was always making jokes that would make me smile, and we quickly discovered that we shared many common interests. We became friends right away. We exchanged numbers, started hanging out in groups, and little by little, we got to know each other more. At the end of June this year, after a couple of months of dating, we decided to make our relationship official. Joni is the first guy I've ever dated, and I feel a bit like a novice in all of this, but there's something about him that makes me feel at ease. His way of being, his patience, and the way he treats me make me feel comfortable, as if it's been easy all this time. It's strange because I never imagined that my first boyfriend would be so amazing, but here I am. In September, Joni met my family. It was a bit rushed since I took him home for my brother's birthday, Trevito. Trevito is 19 years old and was born deaf, so communication in our family has always been a bit different. We communicate with him mainly through sign language, although he can also lip read, although I always by habit continue using signs. The truth is, at that moment, I was a little worried about how Joni would get along with my brother, because it's a bit difficult for many people to adapt to the way we communicate. But, to my surprise, Joni did wonderfully. During the small celebration at home, it was clear that my parents were thrilled with him. He was friendly, funny, and very respectful, always looking for ways to make everyone feel good. He even tried to connect with Trevito in a very special way. When he joked, he typed his jokes on his phone for my brother to read. Although Trevito could also lip read, it was a gesture that really touched me. Joni was completely willing to understand us, and even though he didn't do it perfectly at first, just the fact that he was trying was already a big step. At the end of the night, my parents told me that they were happy I had found such a kind and caring guy like Joni. It was a sweet moment because I've always cared about what they think about the people I date, and seeing that they approved of Joni gave me a lot of confidence. I, of course, was also happy that everything went so well. Before we left, Joni and Trevito decided to have a little Call of Duty gaming session. Trevito loves playing video games, especially when he's in his element. Despite being deaf, he's incredibly expressive and always has something to say, especially when he's gaming. On this occasion, he couldn't trash talk like others, but he tried to do it in a unique way, with his hands. It made me laugh so much. I couldn't stop laughing while trying to translate it for Joni. Trevito would tell him things like, "You're weak," or would try to come up with insults, but of course my job was to tone all that down for Joni, who didn't want to make him uncomfortable. The funny thing is that, even though my brother was doing his best to attack Joni never lost his composure. Every time Trevito said something, he would respond with compliments like, "Well done," or "Let's do it better next time." I knew that deep down, Joni also wanted to joke around more and compete. But he remained so cordial, and that made him even more likable in my eyes. The interaction between them was incredible, and despite it being their first meeting, they got along quite well. Since that day, they started playing together online and became good friends. About 2 weeks ago, Joni and I went back home to celebrate my mom's birthday. That was when Joni surprised me in the sweetest way. During our visit, he approached Trevito and completely unexpectedly began communicating with him in sign language. Of course, he was still at a basic stage, learning the alphabet, some words, and rehearsed phrases, but we were all impressed by the effort he was making. Trevito lit up in a way I had never seen before. I had never seen him so happy to see that someone was able to communicate with him so directly, without relying on me or my parents to translate. I felt so emotional seeing Joni putting in that effort. It turns out that in the days before, he had been watching sign language tutorials on YouTube, and he had also signed up for a free course on Skillshare to learn more. I was really impressed that he was investing so much time and energy into learning something that honestly he had no obligation to learn. But he did it for Trevito, and he did it for our relationship. Trevito seemed to have a new friend who wasn't limited by language barriers. Even though there were still some awkward moments due to the lack of fluency, communication between Joni and Trevito improved. I still acted as a translator at times, but the connection between them grew. Every time they played, they could exchange some jokes, and even the trash talking became more evident. What had previously been soft and censored was now completely free, and the laughter in the room was contagious. Joni has continued learning sign language with great dedication, and the truth is he's made a lot of progress. Every time I see him putting in more and more effort, I feel a great deal of admiration for him. The truth is, I feel very fortunate to be with someone who puts so much effort into understanding my family, who does everything possible to integrate and show his love for them. However, when I shared this with my high school friends, most of them, especially my closest guy friend, told me that Joni's attitude was a red flag. He said that Joni might be obsessed and emotionally manipulating the situation. He told me it was strange for someone to get so involved with the other person's family after only 5 months of dating, and that maybe Joni was doing it with some ulterior motive, perhaps to get something from me or to win over my family. My friends insisted that it would be better if I reconsidered the relationship because his behavior was unsettling. At first, I felt confused. Could Joni really be doing all this for the wrong reasons? Or maybe my friends just didn't understand what was going on. My gut feeling told me no, that Joni was being sincere. He's always been so genuine and caring with me that I couldn't imagine him acting manipulatively. I know I'm young and don't have much experience in relationships, but something in my heart told me this could be the start of something lasting. We've never had a physical relationship because I've always told him I'm not ready and he's never pressured me. The way he respects me makes me feel even more secure in our relationship. But now, with my friend's words lingering in my head, I'm starting to have some doubts. Should I be concerned about Joni's behavior? Am I being too naive, thinking that all of this is normal and healthy? My friends are still pushing for me to break up with him, but I'm not sure what to do. I'm stuck between what my heart tells me and what my friends believe. I don't know if I'm being too idealistic or if Joni is really showing signs of something more than genuine affection. Wow, this got a bit out of hand. I was taking a break to work on an essay, and when I came back, there were almost 1,000 comments. It's a bit overwhelming, but I also want to thank everyone for your kind words and support. I'm not sure if all the comments are helping me process everything, but I truly appreciate the time everyone has taken to respond and share their perspectives. Thank you, Reddit! For those wondering how things are going, yes, John is still a wonderful person, and so far he hasn't given me any reason to doubt his sincerity. It's true that at first my friends' concerns started to cloud my mind a bit. They have a lot more experience with dating and relationships, and since they care about me so much, their opinions have been influential. I know they're worried about me, and although their perspective was helpful, sometimes it makes me wonder if I'm viewing things too idealistically. The good thing is that after all this reflection, I was able to talk to John about my doubts, and honestly, it was a very positive conversation. After reading all the comments, I decided that I needed to clear things up with John. So we had an honest talk about the concerns my friends had raised. I explained to him how my friends thought he might be acting a bit intensely, to put it mildly. I was worried that maybe his effort to connect with my family, especially with Trevito, was coming from a place that wasn't entirely genuine, but rather as a way to score points or manipulate the situation. I said it out loud, even though I felt a bit silly for mentioning it. But hey, I'm new to all this relationship stuff, and I didn't want to ignore my feelings just to avoid making him uncomfortable. John, as always, was incredibly understanding. Not only did he understand my concerns, but he addressed them with a maturity that surprised me. He told me that he totally respected any boundaries I set, and that his only interest was to make me feel comfortable. He was very honest in saying that although he felt good with my family and enjoyed spending time with them, he didn't want anyone to feel like his efforts were excessive or forced. He made me feel like I didn't need to worry about things that weren't a problem, which reassured me a lot. The most important thing was that although he had been learning ASL with great enthusiasm, he was doing it because he wanted to connect with Trevito more directly, not to win over my family or manipulate me. He's still in the early stages of learning, but I've noticed how much progress he's made in such a short time. Every time I see him use the signs more fluently, I feel so proud of him. It's not just the fact that he's making an effort to communicate better with Trevito, but also the attitude he has, which is completely selfless. At the end of our conversation, I apologized for not expressing my concerns sooner. I knew that my friends were just trying to protect me, but in the end, it was up to me to decide if what I saw in John was genuine or not. And from what I can see, he really cares, not just about me, but also about my brother. The relationship between them has been growing stronger, and that makes me really happy. As the days have passed, John and Trevito's relationship has continued to grow. They still play together, and it's impressive to see how they've adapted to communicate. Although there are still moments when John feels a little unsure about the sign language, his willingness to learn is something that makes me admire him even more. What was once a barrier has now become an opportunity for the two of them to spend more time together and understand each other better. And of course, since I'm still the translator, I've also had my moments of laughter when Trevito and John try to play, while doing all kinds of funny signs, which ends in chaos but also in a lot of laughter. My parents are very happy with all of this. For them, the initial worry about whether John really had good intentions has dissipated. They see how much effort he's putting in, and although he's not perfect, the fact that he's learning ASL to better integrate into our family has shown them that his intentions are pure. When I told them how John continued with his ASL learning, my parents were very happy that someone was really taking our communication style seriously. Trevito is thrilled with John's effort, and their interactions are becoming more and more natural. Of course, there are moments when the situation becomes a bit challenging, especially for John, who is still learning all the vocabulary and expressions, but everything he's doing shows me that he truly values the relationship we have. And beyond the romantic relationship, I also see that he is building a real friendship with Trevito, and that's something that excites me a lot. With all this in mind, I've come to the conclusion that my friends have their concerns, and it's probably because they've had past experiences that have made them more cautious. But in the end, what really matters is how I feel. And so far, John has been incredibly respectful and genuine with me. Of course, I'm still surprised by how many people care so much about my well being, and although I respect their opinions, I also know that I'm the one who has to make decisions about my life and my relationship. Thanks again to everyone who has commented and given advice. I really appreciate it. I know that at the end of the day, what matters most is that both John and I are happy with the relationship we're building, and with time, we'll learn to handle any challenges that come our way. I'm excited about what's ahead, both for my relationship with John and for the dynamic between him and my family. Thanks again for all the support. Wow, I just realized that this post already has over 4,000 comments. I definitely didn't expect that. I went to class and focused on a bunch of tasks, and when I came back, I found this huge pile of responses. I won't lie, it's a bit overwhelming, but I'm also really grateful for all the support and the opinions I've received. I still have a lot to process, but I want to make sure I read every comment and reflect on everything people are telling me. A huge thank you to everyone who has shared their thoughts and taken the time to help me clear my mind. For those of you who are waiting to know how everything is going, especially regarding my friends and their concerns about John, I'll tell you what's been happening lately. After reading all your responses and recommendations, I felt it was necessary to talk to my closest friends and try to really understand where their concerns were coming from. It was quite a deep conversation, and although it was a bit uncomfortable at first, I think it was one of the best things I could have done. As I mentioned in my first post, some of my friends, especially my best friend, had raised the point that what John was doing might be a little excessive. They felt like John could be over-involving himself with my family, and that maybe his behavior was hiding an agenda that wasn't entirely genuine. At first, this idea bothered me a bit because I've always believed in John's kindness, and I didn't understand why they saw him that way. But after thinking about it more and reading all your comments, I realized that it was important to listen to my friends and try to understand their perspective. So I decided to have an honest and open conversation with them. I explained how John has been a great support to me, how his interest in learning ASL and his dedication to improving communication with Trevito are genuine and not just a strategy to win my family's acceptance. I also told them how I had talked to John about their concerns and how he responded with understanding without pressuring me or making me feel uncomfortable. I told them that I felt like John just wanted to be part of my life and that he was making an effort to understand and connect with my family, something I found very valuable. At first, my friends were still a bit skeptical, but after listening to me and better understanding how I felt, they started to soften their stance. It was a long conversation, but in the end, we all agreed that John's behavior, up until that point, showed no signs of being manipulative or obsessive. I think what really changed their minds was when I proposed something they hadn't considered. Why not organize a meeting where they could get to know John better, in a more relaxed setting, and see for themselves if he was really the person I believed him to be? At first, they weren't so convinced, but after thinking about it a little more, they agreed to the idea. So we organized a small gathering at my house. It was something very simple, just my closest friends, John and me. My family was busy with other things, so it wasn't a big gathering, but the important thing was that my friends could see how John interacted with them and how he behaved in a more relaxed environment without pressure. I felt this would give them the opportunity to see John for themselves without any biases and to better understand why I felt so confident in him. The meeting was amazing. John was a little nervous at first, but as always, he was kind, respectful, and had that sense of humor that makes me laugh all the time. My friends were able to see firsthand how genuine he is, how he sincerely engages in conversations, and how he strives to be part of my life without trying to impose anything. Additionally, since John had already learned more ASL, he felt much more comfortable interacting with Trevito. It was great to see them in their own space, chatting and playing together without anyone needing to intervene. My friends, who initially had their doubts, started to see the situation in a different light. They could see how natural the relationship was between John and my brother, and how John was genuinely making an effort to learn and connect. The evening passed without incident. Everyone felt relaxed, laughed a lot, and had a good conversation. In the end, my friends told me that they felt much more at ease regarding John. They said they could now see why I appreciated him so much, and there was nothing in his behavior that seemed strange or concerning. Although they weren't completely convinced by everything John was doing, they no longer felt like his effort to learn ASL and connect with my family was excessive. Instead, they saw it as a genuine gesture from someone who truly cares and wants to be a part of our lives. This was such a relief to me. My friends also mentioned that although they had initially been worried about how quickly John had gotten involved with my family, they now saw it not as something negative, but rather as an act of love and respect. They told me that sometimes people with no bad intentions can make the mistake of trying to impress too much, but in John's case, it seemed like his actions were coming from a place of love and care, not manipulation. In summary, everything went much better than I expected. My friends understood more about what was going on, and John now has a better relationship with them, which makes me feel much more at ease. The fact that he took the time to get to know my family and learn something as important as ASL is something that I honestly appreciate more than ever. My friends no longer see John as a threat or someone who might be acting with hidden motives, but as someone I want to be with. I'm truly grateful to everyone who has commented and given me useful advice. I still have a lot to learn about relationships and life as a couple, but I know I'm making decisions that make me happy, and that's the most important thing. Thanks again to everyone for your support. Hello, everyone! First, I want to thank you again for all the support and comments I've received over the past few days. It has truly helped me a lot to read all the perspectives and advice many of you have shared with me. I know this is a delicate and personal topic, so I feel very grateful for everyone's understanding and patience. Now, I want to share a little update on our relationship and how John and I are continuing to work together to improve our communication with my brother Trevito. After receiving so much support from my friends and the online community, we decided to make an important decision. John and I started taking an ASL, American Sign Language course together. The idea behind this wasn't just to help John improve his ASL skills, but also to strengthen our commitment to supporting each other and to make the relationship between him and my brother even stronger. It's funny because even though John already knew the basics, taking the course together has given us a new perspective. It's not just about learning more signs or improving our technical skills, but how this process has brought us even closer as a couple. The simple act of learning something new together as a team has been very enriching. It's an experience that allows us to understand Trevito better and strengthen our connection on many levels. Trevi, as always, is excited about John making this effort to learn. I think for him, seeing that John is not only interested in his world, but is also taking the time to improve his way of communicating with him is very meaningful. I remember the first day John showed his new progress with Trevito. John wasn't just using the signs he had learned in the course, but he was excited to share them, asking Trevito if he was using them correctly. Seeing my brother so happy and John so involved was such a special moment. Trevito felt valued, and that for me is the most important thing. This experience hasn't just been positive for Trevito, but also for our family as a whole. By having John more involved in the learning process, we've created a more inclusive and open environment at home. Trevito no longer feels as isolated, and John has been able to integrate even more into our family conversations. Even my parents feel more at ease seeing how John and Trevito are building such a positive relationship. Sometimes, amidst the doubts that may arise in a new relationship, you don't realize the small victories that happen day by day. But now, looking back, I feel grateful for how everything has evolved. John has not only proven to be an amazing partner to me, but also a friend and support to my brother. So yes, we're still learning, growing, and strengthening our relationship with each step we take. Thank you all for your advice and for keeping up with how everything is going. I feel very fortunate to have John by my side and, most importantly, to have the support of people like you. Hello, everyone. This is the final update, and I want to thank you all for the support you've given us throughout this entire time. Today, I want to share something truly positive, something that makes me feel very happy and excited. My relationship with John continues to grow solidly. Over the months, we've overcome many of the doubts and concerns that arose at the beginning, and today I can confidently say that our connection is stronger than ever. John has not only been a great partner to me, but he has also seamlessly integrated into my family's life, especially with Trevito, my brother. The most beautiful thing is that John and Trevito have built a relationship that truly excites me. Not only has John learned ASL to communicate better with him, but he has done it in a genuine way, showing a real interest in my brother. They've played video games together, laughed, and every time John learns something new in ASL, Trevito feels so happy and valued. Watching them interact like that has given me great peace of mind. Additionally, something even more beautiful I want to share is that John and I have talked a lot about our future. After everything we've been through and learned, we both feel that we're ready to take the next step in our relationship. So, with great enthusiasm, John and I have decided to move in together. It's a big step, but we both feel confident that we're ready for this new chapter. This has been a long journey with many lessons, but the most important thing is that we've arrived at this point stronger and more united than ever. I am grateful to each of you for your support and for being with us through this process. I'm excited about what the future holds for us and everything we continue to learn and grow together. Thank you again for being part of this experience. I'm so happy to share this news with all of you.